Back with another video, and what I'm going to be talking about today is the SunJoe SPX3001, and as it compares to the Blue Clean AR390SS. And then I'll also go over the differences between the SPX3001 by SunJoe and probably the more popular SPX3000. Hopefully that'll help you with any buying decisions that you might be making. And I'll just go over a couple little differences between these guys and a couple little pros and cons I noticed about each, which may not be so apparent in the photos and videos. So let's get right into the specs between these guys, which are pretty similarly matched. So the SunJoe has a 14.5 amp motor, and the AR390SS has a 14 amp. And I'll just refer to these. The one on the left would be the SunJoe, and the one on the right would be the AR. The SunJoe has a maximum PSI of 2030, and the AR has a maximum PSI of 2000. Now that's the maximum power. That's not usually the running pressure. What I found online is the SunJoe had a rate. It was rated for 1450, and the AR was rated for 1300. SunJoe is 1.76 gallons per minute, or GPM, and the AR is 1.4. Both of these have detergent tanks. You could put soap in there to wash the car, or you could also put some chemicals in there to clean some mold and things like that off the concrete and vinyl and whatever you'd like. So for that one, the SunJoe has a 1.2 liter detergent tank, and the AR over here has a 1.4 liter or 48 ounce tank. The other specs on these guys are pretty similar. So these are electric power washers, so they both have an electrical cord, and both are 35 feet. The hose on both of these is 20 feet. Slight weight difference, the SunJoe is 38 pounds and the AR is 42. They're both a little bulky if you want to pick them up and move them, but they both do come with wheels, which I found to work very well. They both have a TSS, which is a total stop system, which basically means when you shut off the motor, the pump will stop also. And they both have GFCI protection, so if the outlets get wet or the electric gets wet, then it will automatically stop. I did test it on the SunJoe by accident, and it did work just fine. And on the AR, it works fine, but sometimes it's a little sensitive, so even if there was some like mist in the air from the power washing, it would turn it off, and I would have to reset it. The SunJoe comes with a 2-year warranty, and the AR comes with a 1-year warranty. So speaking of the GFCI module, it's a little bigger than a lot of people probably realize. So this is on the SunJoe, and this is the AR. They're pretty similar in size, but they will not fit in a outlet if you have any kind of covering on it. So basically you'd have to use an extension cord, which I use all the time, and that works just fine. I haven't had any issues with that. Some other differences are what you get in the box, mostly with the quick connects here. On the SunJoe, you get a 0 degree, 15, 25, 40, and a soap, which is arranged like this. And then this actually is a really nice feature. It just clips in here, and these don't get lost. They have somewhere to go, which is great. The AR has a 0, 25, and soap quick connect, but the big thing that this one comes with is this turbo nozzle, which is great, which is a 0 degree nozzle, but it rotates, so it actually cleans a whole big area of the pavement. If you were trying to clean a vinyl siding or a concrete or something like that, or a driveway with this, it would take you forever. It also takes forever with this one, but less forever, so which is a great feature that this came with it. This attachment is like $15 or so. The one that fits the AR also fits the SunJoe, so they're kind of all standard. All these quick connects for these two brands are interchangeable. So let me also just briefly address the SPX3001 versus the SPX3000 of the SunJoe. Then, like I said, I'll go over into little pros and cons of each of these things and help you make a decision if you're thinking about buying one of these. So the 3000 and the 3001 are very similar. All the internals are the same amp, the same gallons per minute, the same maximum PSI, the same cord length, hose length, all that stuff is exactly the same. The big difference is the 3001 has this hose reel, which is where you can just roll it up here. Neither of them have any place to put the electrical outlet, so both of them will look sloppy, just wrapped up, and there's just nowhere to put that stuff. The other subtle differences are this, the SunJoe 3001 has a 1.2 liter single detergent container, whereas the 3000 has 2.9 liter detergent tanks, which probably doesn't make too much of a difference, but it's there. The 3001 also comes basically assembled. There's only a couple of, I only had to put in 2 pieces on this thing, which was real easy, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. And the 3000, supposedly it takes about 20 minutes to build. I don't have one of those, but just seeing what it is, it does have some more pieces that you have to actually put together. And there is a slightly different look to them. This one just has a little bit more of an angular look, and I don't know, a little more durable look to it than the 3000, but that is subjective. The weight, this one is 32 pounds, and the 3000 is 31 pounds, so basically the same. Like I said, the big difference between them is the hose reel. So you have somewhere to put the hose, and you can wind it up right here, which is really, it was kind of a selling point for me. I wish they did have somewhere to put the electrical outlet, but neither of them have that. The 3000 is a little more popular and a little cheaper, but look around, see which ones you can get some deals on. So on my channel, I do reviews of mostly tech products, a lot of software tips and features and reviews. And then I also do gadgets around the house that I found helpful. I use all the products for a while before I put any kind of review in there. I try to give you some tips that might help you with your purchasing decisions. If any of this is helpful for you, please consider subscribing. I would appreciate it. And like the video. Thanks so much. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty here. A couple of things I didn't like about the SunJoe is the holder for the gun right here. There was a single screw that went in here, and this one wasn't too bad. So there's that single screw that went in there. Just real plasticky and kind of delicate to put on there. That one wasn't too bad. The one underneath here, so this is where this container goes, and this of course is where the gun would sit right here. You can see this is the screw hole for that, and it kind of sticks out, so this is kind of a delicate piece, and in the box it probably got banged around onto something, and it was actually kind of the threads are all screwed up here, and this little plastic piece broke. So that wasn't great. And then trying to put this on here, this thing broke too. So this is kind of just a little bit of a delicate, a little more delicate than I would prefer, because this does rest on the ground all the time. This is going to get a lot of abuse, and the wand is going to be going in there all the time. So I wish that was just a little more durable. On the AR, these just seem to be a little more durable, and I've actually had this unit for 7 years, and I have no issues with those. Those have held up really well. On the SunJoe, I'm not sure if they're going to hold up, but like I said, they came initially broken. We'll see what happens in the future. This seems stupid that SunJoe couldn't do this, but they have nowhere to put the cord. Obviously, there's a large 35-foot cord around here, and they just expected you to run this around. There's not even, there's a little catch here. I don't know why they couldn't put just a little catch down here, and then you could have wrapped the electrical cord on something and at least made it look halfway decent. I tried to wrap it on this thing, which is what it's designed for, and the wire was everywhere. Putting it up here, I guess, holds it up there a little bit better, but still, you know, it looks kind of crappy. And it's just, I don't know, it seems like the electrical cord was an afterthought on this one. On the AR, just makes common sense. Just two little tabs here, and you can just wind up the cord and roll it away, and it's much nicer and neater. Probably could store it a little bit easier as well. So they both have a reel for the hose, which is great. But these handles are super tiny, and it's just a little hard to roll up the hose at the end of the day. Same thing with the AR. This handle is exactly the same size as the SunJoe. Both the same. Definitely hard to wrap this up. This is kind of a thick hose, and it's a little stiff on both of them, so it's a little hard to wrap up. If you're going to use the hose, trying to pull it out like this, you will tip both of these very easily. I mean, you know, it's just very easy for them to tip, no problem there. So what I usually do when I'm using this, I just unwind the whole hose for whatever I need to use, and then it's not really an issue. But if you are at the edge of where you're using the hose and you pull it a little bit, this thing will definitely fall, which is sometimes an issue because then the GCFI could get into some water. You could bang the hose over here and lose the connection there, so, and you know, something could break. This is just like kind of a plastic piece here, so it's kind of just plastic machine, so not great to have that tip over. These are both metal. This is where the hose connects into, and these seem pretty durable. This unit, like I said, I've had for many years and had no issues. Just a little bit of a leak on both of them, actually, but very little. Some people complained about the wheels on the SunJoe being a little stiff. I haven't had any issue with them. Some other people offered a solution, just lubricated the wheels and the hose reel here, and that seemed to make a big difference, and it was a little smoother. I haven't really had any issues with it. The hose reel is a little stiff, but I think that's just going to be the way it is. So let me also just show you one other thing that I really have found very helpful. So this is the SunJoe gun, very similar to the AR, but exactly the same it seems. This is the AR, but what I'm just showing you here is that there's a little attachment that you can put on here, which makes cleaning much easier. It's this rotating dial here. It's rotating cleaner, and it will just sit like that, and you just hold it like this, then you'd be able to clean the floor. Under here is basically just two nozzles that rotate really fast, and like I said, it's not perfect, and you still got to kind of move slow, but if you just kind of move slow across the concrete or the driveway or whatever you're doing, it will sort of clean much quicker than the turbo nozzle even that I had. Makes cleaning much easier. This I did actually get on Amazon, but you do need an attachment with this. Hopefully I'll be able to find the links and I'll put them in the description. But very important, you need this little attachment. This will allow it. So this hooks onto here real easy. So to show you, that goes there. And you can see the handle here. This just fits in here. Then you just have to use a little extra force and turn it. Now that's locked in. And then it just screws in like this. And then again, this is how the wand would work. And you hold the gun like this, and you shouldn't really need to bend down too much because it's long enough. And then you just drag this around and it will clean. Again, this attachment is good for the SunJoe and the AR brands. It's probably good for a lot of other brands, but I can't guarantee anything. I'll put the link in the description because this was actually fairly hard to find. And then the attachment is really important. You definitely need this. It won't work without it. So the attachment was kind of hard to find too. So again, I'll put that in the description. So one other thing I forgot to mention. For the SunJoe and the AR, you have the power on and off. Just there's only one speed for the pressure washer, but for this, for the detergent, how much you want it to dispense, there is an adjustment on there. In the AR, same thing. This is the power, then this is the adjustment for the detergent. So how fast you want the detergent to come out, you can adjust, which is great. So, final thoughts on these. The AR was actually a great machine. Like I said, I used it for many years. I do like that you could put the cord somewhere, and it does have the hose reel, and it did come with that turbo nozzle, so that's a very big, great feature. One thing about the AR, I had the detergent holder in there, but I didn't use it for the first couple of years, and then when I thought of a great idea, I could use this to wash my car, and it didn't work. So definitely had a warranty, and that was no good, so that kind of stinks. If you do get a power washer, just use all the features on it and make sure it does work the way you want it to. The SunJoe, again, this is the SPX3001. I love that it has the hose reel on top. That's the main difference between this and the 3000, and it does make it much easier to put it away. There's no place to put the electric cord here, which is, like I said, that's completely ridiculous, but that's where that is. And if you had this and the hose reel just kind of sitting all over the place like you would have on the 3000, that's just kind of a mess, and then you got the hose and wires everywhere, and just storing it might be a little more of an issue. I do love that it does come with the 5 quick connects, and it has a place to put all of them. The quick connects, there's really no place to put them on this, so that you have to make sure you know where you put them, otherwise you go to use them every few months and then they're lost. So just keep that in mind. And then again, this little device here makes cleaning any surfaces, driveways, sidewalks, anything like that, much easier, much quicker. If you want to clean the side of a house or a fence, that turbo nozzle really does a great job. But again, that you can buy separately if you wanted to. If there's any questions or comments, you can leave them below. And if you use either of these devices and have any tips for anybody, go ahead and leave them down below as well.